What if I tell you the life you are begging for has already started, but you keep missing it because your mind is never where your body is? So listen carefully, because maybe your freedom is not waiting in another place, another person, another success, or another version of yourself. Maybe your freedom begins the moment you stop obeying every thought that enters your mind. What if the life you are trying so hard to fix is not the problem? What if the real problem is that you are never fully inside it? Your body wakes up in the morning, but your mind has already run into tomorrow. Your hands touch water, but your thoughts are touching old wounds. Your eyes look at the person in front of you, but inside you are arguing with someone who is not even there. You call this thinking. You call this being careful. You call this preparing yourself. But most of the time, you are not preparing. You are suffering before life has even asked anything from you. A person can sit in a quiet room and still live in a battlefield. No one is attacking him, yet his chest is tight. No danger is standing near him, yet his breathing is heavy. No one is speaking, yet he hears 1,000 voices in the mind. This is the strange power of thought. It can create a storm without clouds. It can create a prison without walls. It can make a free person feel trapped, not because the door is locked, but because he has forgotten where the door is. The mind is a wonderful servant. It can plan, study, build, protect, remember, and understand. But when the servant becomes the master, life becomes heavy. You stop tasting your food. You stop hearing your own breath. You stop seeing the sky above you. You stop noticing the small kindness around you. You live inside questions that do not end. What if I fail? What if they leave? What if I am not enough? What if I made the wrong choice? What if the future punishes me for the past? Listen carefully. A thought is not a command. A fear is not a prophecy. A memory is not a prison sentence. An emotion is not always a direction. The mind can speak, but you do not have to kneel before every word it says. When a cloud passes through the sky does not chase it. When a bird flies across the mountain does not follow. In the same way, when a thought passes through you, you can notice it without becoming its servant. Most people do not suffer only from what happens. They suffer from what their mind adds to what happens. Someone replies late, and the mind says, they do not care. Someone looks serious, and the mind says, I did something wrong. A plan changes, and the mind says, everything is falling apart. One mistake happens, and the mind says, this is who I am. The event is small, but the story becomes huge. Then the body reacts to the story as if the story is reality. This is why awareness is the beginning of freedom. Awareness is the moment you see the thought instead of drowning inside it. Awareness is the small space between the spark and the fire. In that space you can breathe. In that space you can choose. In that space you can ask, is this true or is this only familiar? Is this helping me act or only helping me suffer? Is this reality or is this fear wearing the mask of reality? When you finally stop living in your head, everything changes. Not because life suddenly becomes perfect, but because you stop adding poison to the wound. Pain may still come. Uncertainty may still come. Loss, pressure, failure, waiting, and disappointment may still come. But you are no longer carrying the pain of the moment and the pain of 10 imagined futures. You meet one breath, one step, one problem, one truth at a time. The body knows how to live in the present. The breath does not happen yesterday. The heartbeat does not happen tomorrow. Your feet can only touch the ground beneath them now. But the mind keeps leaving. It goes backward to collect regret and forward to collect fear. Then it returns to the body and says, we are in danger. But look around. Often there is no danger in the room. There is only a body sitting safely while the mind shows frightening pictures. So return to the body. This is not a small teaching. It is a doorway. Feel your feet. Feel your hands. Notice the air moving through the nose. Relax the jaw. Drop the shoulders. Let the belly soften. Listen to the sounds around you without needing to name them. The moment you come back to sensation, the mind loses some of its control. You tell the body, we are here. Not in the old conversation, not in tomorrow's failure, not in someone else's opinion. Here. A warrior does not win by swinging the sword in every direction. He wins by standing steady, seeing clearly, and acting when action is needed. The untrained mind swings all day. It cuts the past, the future, the self, the people it loves, and even moments of peace. Then the person says, I am tired. Of course you are tired. You have been fighting shadows since morning. Discipline is learning when to think and when to stop. It is learning when to plan and when to act. It is learning when to remember and when to release. It is learning when fear is giving useful information and when fear is only repeating an old song. Without discipline, the mind becomes a market full of noise. With discipline, the mind becomes a clean training hall. Do not try to destroy your mind. That is another form of violence. The mind is not your enemy. An untrained mind is like a young horse. If you let it run anywhere, it may throw you into the dust. But if you train it with patience, it can carry you across mountains. You train it not by hatred, but by repetition. Each time you notice you are lost in thought and return to the breath, you are training. Each time you choose action over mental chaos, you are training. Each time you pause before reacting, you are training. Many people want peace, but they continue to feed the mind noise. They wake up and immediately open the phone. Before they hear their own breath, they hear the world shouting. Before they know how they feel, they consume the feelings of strangers. News, drama, comparison, messages, opinions, images, arguments, fear. Then they wonder why the mind is restless. If you throw stones into a lake all day, do not be surprised that the water is disturbed. Your attention is your life. Wherever attention goes, energy follows. If your attention lives in comparison, you will feel poor even when you have enough. If your attention lives in fear, you will feel unsafe even when nothing is attacking you. If your attention lives in regret, you will feel chained even when the past is gone. Protecting attention is not weakness. It is spiritual strength. It is mental hygiene. It is respect for the life moving through you. When you stop living in your head, you begin to notice how simple life becomes. Not easy, simple. Wake up, breathe, wash your face, eat with awareness, do the work in front of you. Speak truthfully, listen fully, move the body, rest without guilt, repair what you can, release what you cannot control. The mind says, but what about everything else? And the deeper self answers, when the next step arrives, I will meet it. Until then, I will not bleed for a future that has not happened. Suffering in advance is one of the oldest habits of the anxious mind. People suffer before the exam, before the meeting, before the result, before the conversation, before the rejection, before the loss. Sometimes the feared thing never comes, but they have already paid the emotional price. Sometimes it comes, and they are already exhausted from rehearsing it 100 times. This is not preparation. This is self-punishment. Preparation is calm. Panic is not preparation. Planning has an end. Obsessing has no end. Reflection gives wisdom. Rumination gives wounds. Reflection says, what can I learn? Rumination says, how long can I punish myself? Reflection bows to the lesson and moves. Rumination sits in the ashes and calls it loyalty to the fire. You cannot solve overthinking by overthinking. This is very important. The mind will try to make a plan about how to stop thinking. Then it will judge the plan. Then it will judge the judgment. Then it will become anxious about still being anxious. This is a trap inside a trap. The exit is not another argument in the mind. The exit is awareness, breath, body, and action. Action is medicine for a trapped mind. Not reckless action, but clear action. Write one sentence, clean one corner, walk for 10 minutes, make the phone call, drink the water, open the book, sit in silence for 3 breaths, do the next honest thing. The mountain in the mind becomes smaller when the feet start moving. The task becomes clearer when the hands touch it. Fear loses authority when you act with presence. Do not wait until you feel ready. Readiness often comes after beginning. Confidence often comes after repetition. Clarity often comes after contact with reality. The mind says, I will start when I am certain. But life rarely gives certainty before movement. Life gives a little light, enough for the next step. Take it. Then more light appears. When you live in your head, you treat every feeling like an emergency. Sadness comes, and you panic. Fear comes, and you obey. Anger comes, and you attack. Loneliness comes, and you escape. But emotions are weather. Some are heavy, some are warm, some are sharp, some are soft. Weather is meant to be felt, not worshipped. Let the emotion move through the body. Ask what it carries. Then choose from wisdom, not from the first wave. Fear may say, prepare. Listen if preparation is needed. Fear may say, hide forever. Do not obey. Anger may say, a boundary has been crossed. Listen if truth is there. Anger may say, destroy everything. Do not obey. Sadness may say, something mattered. Listen with tenderness. Sadness may say, nothing will ever heal. Do not obey. Feelings deserve respect, but they do not deserve the throne. The throne belongs to awareness. Awareness sees fear and does not become fear. Awareness sees anger and does not become anger. Awareness sees the memory and does not become the memory. Awareness sees the thought, I am not enough, and says, this is an old echo, not the voice of truth. This is how freedom grows. Not by removing every storm, but by remembering the sky. When you stop living in your head, relationships change. You stop hearing every silence as rejection. You stop turning every delay into abandonment. You stop making the people in front of you pay for the pain of people behind you. You stop asking love to constantly prove that old wounds were wrong. You begin to listen, really listen. Not only to reply, not only to defend, not only to find danger. You listen to meet the person. Many relationships suffer because 2 people are not speaking to each other. Their fears are speaking. Their pasts are speaking. Their defenses are speaking. One person says something simple and the other hears an old wound. One person needs space and the other hears, I am being left. One person is tired and the other hears, I am unloved. The mind adds meaning faster than the heart can breathe. Presence slows this down. Presence says, ask before assuming, breathe before reacting, listen before defending, feel before blaming. Speak from truth, not from panic. This does not make you weak, it makes you accurate. A present person can love without clinging, set boundaries without cruelty, apologize without losing dignity, and walk away without hatred when walking away is necessary. Living outside the head does not mean becoming passive. It means becoming awake. Some people think peace means accepting disrespect, avoiding decisions, or pretending pain does not matter. No. Real peace gives you the strength to see clearly and act cleanly. You can say no with a calm voice. You can leave with a soft heart. You can fight for what matters without becoming poison inside. Stillness is not weakness. It is power without chaos. The world often rewards speed, but wisdom requires pause. The pause before the message, the pause before the judgment. The pause before the purchase, the pause before the insult, the pause before the old habit. In that pause, you reclaim your life. Without the pause, old programming lives through you. With the pause, you become the one who chooses. Ask yourself today, who has been choosing for me? Is it fear? Is it pride? Is it loneliness? Is it the need to be approved? Is it the voice of someone who hurt me? Is it the pressure to look successful? Is it the habit of worrying, or is it my deeper wisdom? This question is a blade. It cuts through illusion. Many people say, this is my personality. But often it is not personality. It is protection that became a cage. You are not every pattern you develop to survive. Maybe you learned to overthink because at one time you needed to predict danger. Maybe you learned to please people because at one time love felt unsafe. Maybe you learned to stay busy because stillness made pain rise. Maybe you learned to control because uncertainty once hurt you. Honor the younger self who created these methods, but do not let old survival become your whole future. The past may explain your reactions, but it does not have to command them forever. A wound can be respected without being obeyed. A memory can be acknowledged without being allowed to drive. You can say, yes, this happened. Yes, it shaped me. Yes, it hurt. And still I choose to meet this moment with new eyes. This is maturity. This is inner training. This is the way a person becomes free without needing the past to disappear. When you stop living in your head, you stop confusing self-attack with self-improvement. Many people believe if they are harsh enough with themselves, they will become better. But a tree does not grow faster because you shout at it. A child does not learn deeply because you shame him. The body does not become strong because you hate it. Real discipline is not hatred. Real discipline is devotion. It says, because I respect my life, I will train. Because I respect my future, I will act. Because I respect my peace, I will stop feeding what destroys it. You can be firm with yourself without being cruel. You can admit mistakes without becoming the mistake. You can demand effort without denying your humanity. This balance is rare. Some people are soft with themselves until they avoid growth. Others are hard with themselves until they lose joy. Walk the middle path, gentle enough to heal, strong enough to change the mind love labels. Failure, winner, broken, behind, unlovable, lazy, weak, successful, superior, inferior. But life is movement. You are not a fixed label. You are a living process. A seed underground may look like nothing, but it is not nothing. It is preparing. A wound covered by a bandage may look weak, but healing is happening. A person sitting silently may look still, but inside they may be breaking old chains. Do not disrespect quiet growth. The mind wants dramatic proof. Life often gives small signs. You notice the spiral earlier. You recover faster. You speak more gently. You sleep with less heaviness. You do the task before fear becomes too loud. You let one thought pass without following it. These are not small victories. These are the foundations of a new life. One day, something that used to control you for a week will control you for one day, then 1 hour, then 1 minute. Then it will pass through like wind. This is not magic. This is training. Every return matters. Every breath matters. Every moment of not feeding the old fire matters. The mind may say, nothing is changing. The mind is often impatient because it only trusts what is loud. Trust what is steady. A tree grows in silence. The sun rises without shouting. The river shapes stone by returning again and again. Your inner life changes in the same way. Do not chase dramatic peace. Practice ordinary presence. Wash the cup with attention. Walk with attention. Listen with attention. Work with attention. Rest with attention. The ordinary moment becomes sacred when you are inside it. This is what overthinking steals from you: the ordinary, the warmth of tea, the taste of bread, the face of someone you love, the color of evening, the strength in your legs, the blessing of clean water, the chance to begin again. These things look small only to a mind addicted to noise. But when you become present, you see that most of life is made of small doors into gratitude. Gratitude is not pretending life is perfect. Gratitude is noticing what is still good while you work with what is difficult. It is not blindness, it is balance. The anxious mind sees one problem and says everything is ruined. Presence sees the problem, but it also sees the breath, the ground, the support, the lesson, the next step. This makes the heart stronger. When you live in your head, even blessings become pressure. You get what you wanted, then immediately fear losing it. Someone loves you, then you fear they will leave. You succeed, then you fear you cannot maintain it. You rest, then you feel guilty. The mind moves the finish line again and again. Presence stops and says, let me receive this moment before I chase the next one. Receiving is also a practice. Many people know how to chase, but not how to receive. They know how to struggle, but not how to rest. They know how to prove, but not how to be. They know how to survive, but not how to live. When you stop living in your head, you slowly learn to receive the life that is already touching you. This does not mean ambition disappears. It becomes cleaner. You still build, train, study, earn, create, and rise. But you do not do it to escape worthlessness. You do it as an expression of alignment. You do not chase success as medicine for self-hatred. You move because there is life inside you, asking to be used well. Ambition without presence becomes hunger with no bottom. Ambition with presence becomes service, mastery, and growth. Focus is one of the greatest gifts of leaving the head. A scattered mind feels weak because its energy leaks everywhere. It is thinking about the task, the opinion, the future, the mistake, the notification, the comparison, the fear. Gather that energy into one action and power returns. Sunlight spread across the ground is warm. Sunlight focused through a lens can create fire. Your attention is the same, so do one thing. Just one. Not forever, just now. If you are reading, read. If you are training, train. If you are eating, eat. If you are speaking, speak. If you are resting, rest. The mind will try to split you into many pieces. Bring yourself back into one piece. A gathered person becomes difficult to disturb. Stillness also reveals what you have been avoiding. This is why many people cannot sit quietly. The moment the phone is gone, the mind becomes loud. Memories rise. Discomfort rises. Restlessness rises. They say, I am bored. But often it is not boredom. It is the withdrawal from constant escape. It is the first meeting with the self after a long absence. Do not run too quickly. Sit for a few breaths. Let the noise show itself. You do not have to fix everything at once. You only have to stay long enough to realize that discomfort can be felt without being obeyed. This realization changes everything. The craving can be felt without being followed. The fear can be felt without being believed. The sadness can be felt without becoming your whole identity. This is inner strength. A person who cannot feel discomfort will be controlled by anyone who promises comfort. A person who cannot sit with loneliness will enter wrong company. A person who cannot sit with uncertainty will make desperate decisions. A person who cannot sit with criticism will become dishonest. The ability to stay present with discomfort is the root of freedom. When the mind becomes loud at night, do not argue with it in the dark. The night makes thoughts heavier. Breathe. Feel the bed. Relax the tongue. Notice the weight of the body. Tell yourself, this is a thought, not an instruction. This is fear, not a fact. This is a memory, not the whole truth. Tomorrow I will act where action is needed. Tonight I return to breath. When shame comes, do not bow to it. Shame says you are the mistake. Wisdom says you made a mistake, now learn. Shame says hide. Wisdom says repair. Shame says you are unworthy. Wisdom says your worth is not erased by imperfection. If shame made people better, the world would be full of awakened beings. But shame often makes people smaller, more fearful, and more dishonest. Choose responsibility without self-destruction. When comparison comes, remember that you are seeing someone else's surface and comparing it to your hidden struggle. You see their result, not every lonely repetition. You see their smile, not every silent battle. You see their fruit, not the years of root. Stay with your path. Another person's sunrise does not steal light from yours. When you stop living in your head, you stop performing your life for imaginary judges. You stop explaining every choice to people who are not walking your path. You stop asking permission from voices that only exist